All right, guys, what's up? It's Jack, and welcome back to another video. So, over the last God knows how long, I haven't really been making too many videos like I did in the very beginning of this game because, well, I've just been spending a shit ton of time playing it, comparing it to Splitgate 2, obviously, to where I'm spending I don't know, about 4 or 5 hours on a daily basis playing this game at also degenerate hours. So a lot of the guys that you see that are like in the leaderboards, like in the top 10, top 20 or whatever, those are guys I'm seeing in my lobbies very regularly. So with that being said, though, I did something like this very similarly with Splitgate 2, and I would like to do it here. So this will be basically feedback for devs number one, and this one's going to be all about like kind of quick things that they could at least be aware of and at the same time fix or implement into their game. So upon the 10 things that I will be listing here today, I would like for you to list your opinions, or should I say your feedback, within the limitations of these 10 things that I'm going to talk about, because there will be future episodes about this, talking about other things as well. But in order for things to not get too out of hand, just for now, especially since we're in the beginning of this early access phase, it just makes sense to start out simple, start out slower, and then eventually graduate into the next step and so on and so forth as time goes on and as the game gets more advanced and more things get adjusted, etc., etc. So let's go down the list, shall we? Now, this was actually a pretty easy list, but I think as simple as these things are, as well as a few other things, there's actually one thing in here within this list that's actually going to be probably controversial, is going to seem some feathers. But again, this is one of the reasons why I want to talk about this. So anyway, let's go with the first thing on my list. And this is very simple. I would like accuracy stats after every single game, as well as overall accuracy in the stats page, as well as like per weapon and all that kind of stuff. But obviously that can be a little bit later. But at the very least for now, accuracy stats after every game would be great. Now, this idea kind of came from Halo because, like this game, Halo is an arena shooter also, even though this one is significantly different. There are a few nods here and there to where there could be some comparisons, but I think player feedback in terms of how accurate they are on a game-to-game basis, I think would come really in handy. I personally would love it, and especially when it comes to precision weapons, I think people will really dig that. So this occurred in ranked in Halo Infinite, which I played a shit ton of. As a matter of fact, it was pretty much what I played 99% of the time. So I, for one, would appreciate this, and I'm sure other people would as well. So let's go on into the next one here, number two. In the kill feed, I would like to see what weapon we got killed by. I don't just want to see, got killed by such and such player and this is how much health they have left. I mean, that's great. That could stay. But I really would like to see what weapon I got killed by. Now, granted, sometimes it's pretty obvious, like if it's a shotty or a sniper. But for the most part, I think it wouldn't really hurt anything for them to basically add that in the kill feed. So if anything, this would also be something that that would actually possibly encourage players to try out a little bit more variety of weapons than they already do. And while we're here on weapons real quick, just one thing that I just thought of right now as I'm doing this commentary right now that's not on this list, and I'm just going to add it in here in terms of in accordance to with number two, is the submachine gun, the explosive submachine gun. The explosiveness just it distorts the screen way too much. So maybe if they can tone that down or just leave it to a point to where it's like, okay, you can have the explosive effect, but like not something that distorts my vision so much that I'm not going to be able to look at what I'm aiming at. You know what I mean? So if we can get that fixed, devs, I think that'd be great. Let's move on to number three. I want the mechs showing up as something different on a mini map other than a dot, because they show up just like any other player. I'm not sure if this was done deliberately or not. Perhaps so, therefore maybe more players can accidentally run into mechs. That would be my guess. But if it wasn't, I would really like for mechs to kind of show up as not as dots on the minimap, because quite frankly, if anything, it would actually also encourage players to be a little bit more teamwork-ish. It would encourage more teamwork, so that way, players can can tag team each other, basically tag team it and take down a mech faster. But at the same time, it is very one-sided. So I figured maybe as a way to balance things out, they can, I don't know, they could do something to where the mech could also have like some sort of counter or whatnot. I don't know. Maybe perhaps some sort of warning or something like that, to where if a mech can't see a player, to where, hey, there's a player nearby or something like that, to kind of even it out. Maybe the mechs, while you're in the mech, you can have your own version of a mini map or radar or whatever. All right, let's continue on here. On to number 4. I would like different sounds on full-on kills, as well as a different sound for kill assists. So, because right now, kill assists and kills pretty much sound the same when you get them. So I would like official kills, to where you actually got a kill, you know, would make a different sound as opposed to a kill assist, as opposed to just something that we see on screen, to where it's like, hey, kill or kill assist. I would like there to be a difference in sound, a sound cue that would signify that would be great as well. Let's move on to the next one. And this kind of goes with the accuracy. And it has been actually inspired by Halo as well. But I'm going to put it here, and it certainly can't hurt. But I would like a perfect kill metal / sound. Basically, what this means is if you are shooting your target and you're not missing a shot, whether it's a precision weapon or whatever weapon, I think it would be really cool if, you know, you were able to get a perfect kill in terms of the least amount of bullets, or should I say, not missing a single shot, regardless of whatever weapon you use, and you get a perfect medal. I think that would be great. But obviously on precision weapons, this would make a lot more sense. But with that being said, I don't think how this could hurt anything. All right, let's move on to number 6. I would like for there to be an additional little ability with the grapple. So what I wrote this as is add ability for the grapple to work on the ground if shooting down from midair, and possibly add in a stomp kill. So what this means is, like, when you're in the air, right, and you're way up there, right, like if you're close enough to the ground to where you can actually grapple onto the ground, like in the middle of the map, to where you're like on the ground, like on ground level, I think that would be really cool. I don't think we should just limit it to buildings and things that are above us. Let's make it to where you can actually grapple down to the ground, and if there's enough velocity, if that's even the term, to where you can actually stomp on somebody. If somebody's right below you, you can stomp on them, and who knows, maybe even perhaps have a little bit of a radius of damage. So that way, if there are any other players that are around that vicinity, they can basically, like within that radius, you can at least give them damage, or maybe even get a multi-kill if there are people that are close enough that way. I think that would be pretty damn cool. And if you're not going to add it in as a default ability, well, maybe you can add it in as a perk or something. But I think it should be added in as a default ability. At the very least, if you're not going to do the stomp thing with the radius, at least give the players the ability to basically, like get down to the ground, because if you can get up to the ground fairly quickly, then going back down to the ground very quickly should be good too. Because sometimes when let's say you're in midair and you're using the verticality or wall running or whatnot, and you're about to be shot because somebody's going to spot you, whether it's from behind or whatever else, to basically counter that and be able to grapple onto the ground and get yourself back on ground level really quick and just zoom down, I think would be a very advantageous thing. And I don't see why not. So, and of course, for those of you guys that are hearing this, let it be known in the comment section what you guys think about that. All right. Okay. Now this one is going to be the controversial thing that I wanted to add in here. And maybe some of you see this coming, maybe some of you don't. But I think there needs to be at least a little bit of a limit to the verticality. Okay, so obviously there are people that are getting on top of buildings that are really, really high, and there's a countdown timer to where if they actually stay there like beyond 10 seconds, they die. Well, I think there should not be an ability at all to be able to go on top of those buildings. I think people just shouldn't be able to go up there anyway, because you can have somebody that's like, one shot literally, and then they can just go up there, and then they can easily find their way up to to the next part of objective or whatnot. But I think there needs to be a limit of just how far you can go up, as well as that, because it's very easy for the game to kind of lose its mentality, because a lot of people are basically just going really, really high, and all they're doing is just shooting down below onto the enemies or whatnot, and that's pretty much it. That's the only game they're playing. I don't find it as annoying all that much, because I, for one, find ways around that. But when it does happen a lot and you have a full squad of teams that are doing that, it could definitely become annoying. And it's like, okay, you're literally playing a game that's in midair. So I'm thinking to myself, okay, what's the point of having a ground on the map? You know what I'm saying? Like I remember Jay Boendeman was talking about in a video of one of his, talking about how there could be a map to where there is no ground and all you're doing is wall running from place to place, and every engagement that you got is just taking place mid-air to where you're not touching the ground. That's cool and all, but again, there I don't know. I just feel like that there needs to be a little bit of a limit to the verticality. Verticality in the game is fine. Freedom to have that verticality is fine, but there needs to be a limit to it, because as of right now, it's like you can go so high up to where things are just getting just very one-handed, and players just don't really have a choice but to play that way. But it's like, well, there needs to be a little bit more balance there. You know what I mean? So, but anyway, with that being said, I could be wrong. I know a lot of you guys are going to be like, well, that's one of the funnest things about the game. So fuck that. That's one of the reasons why I play this game, because I can just grapple all the way up and just shoot down on people and ha ha ha, that's great. So, I'm sure there's some people that are going to say that. And then of course there's going to be some people that are in support of this, to where it's like, yeah, I'm getting shot from the clouds and I'm sick and tired of it. It's like, or whatever. But anyway, let it be known down below what you guys think. So anyway, moving on to number 8, snipers only playlist. I would personally call it sharpshooters, or a shoddy /sniper playlist. There's word that the shoddies are going to get a bit of a nerf, but shoddies are pretty powerful at this point. But I think if you have a shoddy snipers playlist, I think that would work very, very well. I think in this game, a lot of players would definitely dig that. Let's move on to the next one, number 9. More crosshair options / customization / opacity and thickness. So again, as I mentioned in a previous video, possibly, I don't know, I've done plenty of recordings that I haven't released, but one of the things that I've mentioned is that there's for more crosshair options and customization would be really great, especially with opacity, because some of them you could hardly see. So if we could increase the brightness, or maybe even put an outline of black. So let's say your crosshair is white, or whatever color it is, right? To have a black outline, or a drop shadow or whatever like that, I think would be really advantageous with good opacity. I do it all the time when I make my thumbnails, so I don't see why we can't do this here. All right, and of course, this is the simplest thing at number 10, is team deathmatch score limit needs an increase. 75 for this game is a little bit too fast. Let's work it up to at least 100, and I think 100 would really be the sweet spot. But obviously, if they go beyond that, I wouldn't have a problem with it either. The longer we last in a game, the better. The longer the games last, the better. In terms of that particular one, I still think 75 would still be really good. I mean, I'm sorry, 100 would still be really good with this game. I think 100 would really be the sweet spot. But at the same time, I do believe that Team Deathmatch really does need a score limit increase from 75 to 100. Very, very simple. So with that being said, guys, those are the top 10 things. And I'm just going to say it real quick. Number 1 was accuracy stats after every single game. Number 2 is to see what weapon you got killed by in the kill feed. Number 3 was mechs showing up not as a red dot on the mini map or as something else. Number 4 was different sounds and kills for kills and assists. Number 5 was a perfect kill medal. Number 6 was add the ability to grapple, for the grapple to work on the ground, to zip you back straight up from the ground. Possibly with a stomp with a radius of some kind that will also give damage to those down below. Number 7 is to limit verticality. Number 8 was a snipers only playlist, or a shoddy snipers playlist. Number 9 was more crosshair options and customizations. And number 10 was team deathmatch score limit increase to at least 100. So with that being said, guys, I really am looking forward to your feedback down below. And I know the devs are listening or watching, so hopefully some of this is already in the works, but if it isn't, hopefully this will possibly entice them with your feedback as well, to perhaps implement or not implement certain things on this list. So let me know down in the comment section down below. And as always, I'd like to thank everybody for taking the time to watch and or listen. Hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll catch you guys on the next one.